In the year 1805, Europe stands on the precipice of war. Napoleon Bonaparte, a figure of ambition and relentless drive, casts a long shadow across the continent. His forces, bolstered by a vast army, prepare for an audacious invasion of Britain. The British Isles remain defiant, their safety anchored by the turbulent waters of the English Channel. British ships patrol the coast, their flags snapping in the wind, embodying a nation braced for the storm ahead. Napoleon's strategy hinges on one critical element: naval supremacy. To achieve this, he must unite the French and Spanish fleets under Admiral Villeneuve, a daunting task that could determine the fate of nations. As the coalition fleet gathers, thousands of soldiers, barges, and artillery are readied for the crossing. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation, but uncertainty looms over the operation's success. Meanwhile, Britain has its own champion, Admiral Horatio Nelson, a man of remarkable courage and tactical brilliance. Recently recalled from a relentless pursuit of Villeneuve, he prepares to defend his homeland. Nelson's reputation precedes him. His men admire him for his daring tactics and unwavering resolve. He understands that the coming confrontation is not merely a battle, but a defining moment in European history. As the Franco-Spanish fleet anchors at Cadiz, Nelson tightens the blockade, ensuring that the enemy cannot escape. The tension in the air is palpable, with both sides aware of the monumental showdown that lies ahead. Lanterns flicker aboard the British ships, casting shadows over the decks. Sentries peer into the distance, their hearts racing as they await the inevitable clash that will decide the fate of the seas. The stakes are high. The battle will not be fought for land, but for mastery of the sea. Each side knows that control over the waters will dictate the course of the war and shape the future of Europe. In the hearts of the sailors and commanders, a shared understanding emerges. This battle is more than a mere skirmish. It is a struggle for survival, a fight for honor, and a test of resolve. As the winds shift and the tension mounts, the question looms: will Nelson's bold strategies and the courage of his men be enough to thwart Napoleon's grand designs? The answer lies just beyond the horizon. As the British fleet gathers in the early morning light, Admiral Nelson, a man in his 40s with a weathered face and piercing blue eyes, studies the enemy's formation through his spyglass. His mind races with possibilities. Rejecting the conventional tactics of parallel lines, Nelson proposes a bold maneuver to his captains. His voice resonates with conviction as he outlines his plan to split the enemy line, igniting a spark of excitement among his crew. The captains exchange glances, their initial shock giving way to admiration for Nelson's audacity. They know the risks involved, yet they are inspired by his unwavering confidence in British gunnery and discipline. Meanwhile, in Cadiz, Admiral Villeneuve, a man in his 50s with a stern expression and graying hair, faces mounting pressure from Napoleon. The French leader demands immediate action, pushing Villeneuve to set sail despite his fears of Nelson. Torn between duty and dread, Villeneuve reluctantly orders his fleet to sea, knowing the stakes are high. His heart races as he contemplates the impending confrontation with the legendary Nelson. Back on the British side, the atmosphere is charged with anticipation. Sailors rush about the decks, securing cannons and preparing for battle, their faces a mix of determination and anxiety as they await Nelson's signal. As the fleets prepare to meet, the winds shift, carrying the scent of salt and smoke. Drums beat rhythmically across the wooden decks, a call to arms echoing in the hearts of every man aboard. Nelson stands resolute at the helm of HMS Victory, his gaze fixed on the approaching enemy. He knows that this unconventional strategy could either lead to triumph or disaster, and the weight of history rests on his shoulders. With the final preparations underway, Nelson's mind races through the details of his plan. He envisions the chaos that will ensue when his columns collide with the enemy line, a battle of wills and skill. As the last of the British ships ready themselves, the atmosphere thickens with anticipation. The men know they are about to embark on a perilous journey, one that could change the course of history. With the enemy fleet now in sight, Nelson's heart pounds with a mix of excitement and dread. He knows his plan is audacious, but he believes it will shatter the enemy's will and secure victory for Britain. As dawn breaks on October 21st, the pale light reveals the vast expanse of the sea. British lookouts, eyes sharp and alert, scan the horizon, their voices echoing with urgency as the moment of confrontation draws near. In the distance, the Franco-Spanish fleet emerges, a formidable crescent formation slicing through the water. The sight sends a ripple of tension through the British ranks as they prepare for the impending clash. Aboard HMS Victory, Admiral Horatio Nelson, in his mid-40s with a weathered face and piercing blue eyes, raises his signal flags. His presence commands respect, and his crew responds with a mix of anticipation and resolve. Drums roll across the decks, and the air thickens with the smell of gunpowder. Cannons are primed, and sailors brace themselves at their stations, hearts pounding with the weight of history about to unfold. The British fleet divides into two columns, Nelson leading one and Collingwood the other. They advance steadily, absorbing enemy fire while maintaining their formation, a testament to their training and discipline. As the enemy ships unleash their broadsides, splinters fly across the British decks, and the first casualties are felt. The price of honor and duty weighs heavily on the sailors, yet they remain steadfast. With each passing moment, the distance between the fleets closes. Nelson, peering through his spyglass, senses the tension in the air, knowing that every second brings them closer to a decisive moment. The British sailors, despite the chaos, hold their formation with grim determination. They know that their discipline and resolve will be tested in the fierce battle that is about to erupt. The sound of cannon fire echoes across the water, a prelude to the violence that will soon engulf them. Each ship carries the weight of its crew's hopes and fears, ready to confront fate. As the fleets converge, the air is charged with anticipation. Nelson understands that this moment will not only define his legacy, but also the future of Britain and its naval supremacy. With the enemy line now within reach, the British fleet stands ready to engage. The battle for the seas is about to begin, and the fate of nations hangs in the balance. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, the tension aboard HMS Victory reaches a fever pitch. Nelson, with his weathered face and piercing blue eyes, stands resolute at the helm, ready to inspire his fleet. His presence commands respect, and the men around him sense the weight of history pressing down upon them. They know this moment could alter the course of their nation's fate. At 11:35 a.m., Nelson raises his signal flags, sending a message that will resonate through time. England expects that every man will do his duty. The words ripple through the fleet like a shockwave, igniting a fierce determination among the sailors. Officers exchange glances, their hearts swelling with pride as they prepare for the imminent clash. The moment is electric. Sailors, young and old, grasp their weapons tightly, their faces a mix of fear and fierce resolve. The air is thick with anticipation as they prepare to engage in the chaos of battle. Nelson's voice, steady and commanding, echoes in their minds, urging them to rise to the occasion and defend their homeland. With a thunderous roar, Victory crashes into the enemy line, wedged between the French ships Bucentaure and Redoutable. The impact sends shockwaves through the crew. Cannons roar and smoke billows, enveloping the decks in a haze of chaos. The battle erupts into a cacophony of splintering wood and the cries of men locked in combat. As the cannons erupt at point-blank range, splinters fly like deadly shrapnel. The deck becomes slick with blood and sweat, and men scramble to keep the guns loaded. Amidst the chaos, the determination of the British sailors shines through, their training and discipline guiding them through the storm of battle. Across the battlefield, British ships pierce the Franco-Spanish formation, each vessel a testament to Nelson's audacious strategy. The enemy line begins to fragment, confusion spreading like wildfire. The once unified fleet is now a disarray of drifting hulls and tangled rigging as the British advance relentlessly. The roar of artillery and the clash of steel fill the air as the British sailors press their advantage. Each ship becomes a battleground, with fierce fighting erupting on every deck. The sound of cannon fire mingles with the cries of men, creating a symphony of chaos that echoes across the waves. As the battle rages on, the British sailors draw strength from Nelson's words. They fight not just for victory, but for their country and their comrades. Each cannon blast and every sword clash is infused with a sense of purpose. as the tide of battle begins to turn in their favor. The sea transforms into a chaotic maze of drifting hulls and shattered masts. The British fleet, emboldened by their audacity, capitalizes on the disarray of their opponents. The once mighty Franco-Spanish armada is now a shadow of its former self, struggling to maintain cohesion amid the onslaught. Nelson's unorthodox tactics have begun to bear fruit. The enemy ships, once a formidable force, are now isolated and vulnerable. British sailors, driven by their duty, press the attack, determined to capitalize on the momentum that Nelson has ignited within them. As the battle rages, the spirit of the British fleet is unyielding. They know that this day will be etched into history, a testament to their courage and resolve. With every passing moment, the outcome draws closer, yet the fight continues, a fierce struggle for survival and supremacy. As the battle rages on, HMS Victory locks alongside the French ship Redoutable. The air is thick with smoke, and the sounds of cannon fire and men shouting fill the atmosphere. British sailors, grimy and determined, prepare for close combat, knowing victory hinges on their resolve. Perched high in the rigging of Redoutable, French sharpshooters aim their muskets down at the crowded British decks. The tension mounts as they fire, each shot echoing like a death knell through the tumultuous air. The stakes are life and death, and every bullet counts. In the midst of this chaos, a single musket ball finds its mark. Admiral Nelson, a man in his mid-40s with a weathered face, dark hair, and a distinctive scar above his left eye, collapses as the shot strikes his shoulder, passing through his spine. The world around him blurs. Below decks, a sense of urgency fills the air as surgeons rush to Nelson's side. They know the wound is grave, yet he remains resolute, demanding to hear updates from the battle above. His voice, though weak, carries the weight of a leader unwilling to surrender. Back on deck, the fighting intensifies as grappling hooks secure the two ships together. British sailors clash with French forces in a brutal melee, wielding pistols and cutlasses. The air is filled with the acrid scent of gunpowder and the sounds of metal clashing against metal. As the battle rages, Nelson's officers relay reports to him, their voices strained with urgency. Despite his condition, Nelson's spirit remains unbroken. He asks again, "How goes the battle?" His determination fuels the morale of those still fighting above. The fierce combat continues as British sailors, driven by loyalty to their admiral, push forward with relentless aggression. The Redoutable, battered and overwhelmed, begins to show signs of surrender. Each victory on deck brings a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. In the heat of battle, the Redoutable finally capitulates, its crew overwhelmed by the British onslaught. The sound of surrender echoes across the waves, but for Nelson, the victory is bittersweet. He knows he may not witness the fruits of his labor. As the fighting subsides, Nelson's condition deteriorates. The surgeons work tirelessly, but the admiral's fate hangs in the balance. Outside, the battle continues to rage, but his focus remains on the outcome, his heart still tied to the fight above. With the Redoutable captured, the tide of battle shifts. British ships, fueled by Nelson's daring tactics, press on against the remaining enemy vessels. The victory he envisioned is unfolding, yet he remains trapped in his own struggle for life. In those final moments, Nelson's spirit embodies the very essence of leadership. He remains a steadfast figure, even as the world around him blurs. The battle rages on, but his legacy is already being forged in the hearts of those who fight. As the afternoon sun hangs high, the British fleet unleashes a relentless barrage of cannon fire, targeting the scattered Franco-Spanish ships. Each shot finds its mark, igniting chaos among the enemy ranks. The once cohesive armada begins to fragment, isolated and vulnerable. British sailors, resolute and disciplined, work tirelessly at their guns, their faces smeared with sweat and gunpowder as they push their advantage. The tide of battle shifts dramatically in favor of the Royal Navy. Admiral Collingwood, commanding the southern end of the line, leads the charge against the disintegrating enemy fleet. His ship, Royal Sovereign, cuts through the waves with purpose. Collingwood's face, weathered and determined, reflects the urgency of the moment. He shouts orders, rallying his men to press forward, capturing enemy vessels one after another. The sound of cannon fire and the cries of sailors fill the air as the British momentum builds. On the northern flank, British ships maneuver deftly through the chaos, exploiting the confusion among the Franco-Spanish fleet. The enemy vessels, once a formidable formation, now drift aimlessly, their captains struggling to regain control. British sailors, their uniforms stained and tattered, display remarkable skill and bravery, outmaneuvering their opponents with precision. The air is thick with the acrid smell of gunpowder and the sounds of splintering wood. As the battle rages on, flames erupt from several Franco-Spanish ships ignited by the British broadsides. The fire spreads quickly, consuming wooden hulls and sending smoke spiraling into the sky. Sailors on the burning ships scramble to extinguish the flames, their faces etched with fear and desperation. The once proud fleet, now a scene of destruction, struggles to maintain any semblance of order as panic sets in. The British fleet continues its relentless assault, capturing ship after ship as the Franco-Spanish line collapses. The sound of surrender fills the air as enemy flags are struck. British sailors, weary yet triumphant, cheer as they board the captured vessels, their faces illuminated by the fading sunlight. The sea, once a battlefield, now becomes a graveyard of shattered masts and drifting debris, marking the end of an era for the Franco-Spanish alliance. Confusion reigns among the remaining Franco-Spanish ships as their chain of command disintegrates. Captains shout orders, but the thick smoke and chaos make communication nearly impossible. The once unified fleet is now a disarray of panic and despair, with many vessels striking their colors in surrender. British ships, emboldened by their success, close in for the final push, determined to secure a decisive victory. As the sun begins to set, the British fleet celebrates its overwhelming advantage. The cries of victory echo across the water, but the cost of battle is evident. The sea is littered with the remnants of the Franco-Spanish fleet, their once mighty ships reduced to floating wreckage. British sailors, weary yet proud, reflect on the day's brutal toll, knowing they have changed the course of history with their valor and discipline. In the distance, the remaining enemy ships struggle to regroup, their morale shattered. The British fleet, emboldened by their success, prepares for the final phase of the battle. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation as sailors ready their guns for one last push. The fate of the Franco-Spanish fleet hangs in the balance, and the Royal Navy is determined to seize this moment of triumph. As the battle draws towards its climax, the remnants of the Franco-Spanish fleet become increasingly isolated. The once proud armada, now battered and broken, struggles to maintain any semblance of unity. British ships, their flags flying high, press forward relentlessly, determined to capitalize on the chaos. The outcome of this day will not only determine naval supremacy, but also reshape the future of Europe itself. The relentless assault continues, with British ships closing in on the last remnants of the Franco-Spanish fleet. The weight of history hangs heavy in the air, as sailors on both sides understand the stakes. The sea, once a battlefield of chaos, now holds the promise of a new order. As the sun sinks lower, the final moments of the battle approach, and the fate of nations teeters on the edge of this monumental conflict. Below decks on HMS Victory, the air is thick with the acrid scent of gunpowder and smoke. Admiral Nelson, a man of 57 with a weathered face and a distinctive scar across his left cheek, lies on a cot, breathing heavily. His once bright uniform is now stained and tattered, reflecting the chaos above. The sounds of cannon fire echo faintly, a reminder of the battle raging just beyond the wooden walls. As the battle rages on, officers gather around Nelson, their faces a mix of concern and admiration. They deliver reports, their voices strained yet hopeful, trying to keep the admiral informed of the unfolding victory. Each word carries weight, as the fate of the fleet hangs in the balance. Nelson, despite his pain, remains focused, eager to grasp the outcome of the conflict he orchestrated. The sound of cannon fire above becomes a distant roar as Nelson, struggling to maintain composure, listens intently. He knows the battle is pivotal, and every report brings him closer to understanding the cost of his daring strategy. Each officer's voice is a lifeline, and he clings to their updates, fighting against the encroaching darkness of his own mortality. Finally, an officer steps forward with a solemn expression, delivering the news that Nelson has longed to hear. Victory is complete. The words resonate through the room, and a flicker of relief crosses Nelson's face. Despite the pain coursing through him, he feels a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing that his sacrifices have not been in vain. With a faint smile, Nelson whispers, "Thank God I have done my duty." His voice, though weak, carries the weight of a lifetime dedicated to service and sacrifice. In this moment, he finds solace in the knowledge that his legacy will endure. The battle above may rage on, but he has fulfilled his purpose, and the tide has turned in favor of Britain. As the battle reaches its climax above, the sounds of victory and defeat intermingle, creating a cacophony that fills the air. Nelson's breathing becomes more labored, each inhale a reminder of his fading strength. Yet beneath the surface, a sense of peace envelops him. He knows that the fight he led will change the course of history. As the sun begins to set, casting a golden hue through the portholes, Nelson's eyes flutter. He remains aware of the voices around him, offering congratulations and praise for his leadership. Each word is a balm for his weary soul, a testament to the bond he forged with his men, who fought fiercely under his command. At precisely 4:30 p.m., Nelson takes a final, shuddering breath. The officers around him feel the shift in the air, sensing the loss of their beloved commander. In this moment, the battle above reaches a crescendo, marking the end of an era. His sacrifice will echo through the ages, forever entwined with the victory he fought so hard to achieve. Above decks, the British fleet celebrates their triumph, unaware of the loss they have just endured. The cheers of victory contrast sharply with the stillness below, where Nelson's body lies, a testament to the heavy price of glory. His vision for Britain's naval supremacy has been realized, yet the cost weighs heavily on those who remain. As the sun sinks lower in the sky, the aftermath of the battle unfolds. The British fleet stands victorious, yet the loss of their leader leaves an indelible mark. Nelson's spirit, however, will guide them forward, shaping the future of naval warfare and Britain's place in the world. The legacy of Trafalgar is just beginning to take shape. As the winds pick up, the surviving ships of the British fleet navigate through turbulent waters, their sails straining against the storm. The remnants of the Franco-Spanish fleet drift aimlessly, a testament to the chaos of battle. The storm, fierce and unyielding, serves as a reminder of nature's power, even as Britain secures its dominance at sea. Napoleon's ambitions to invade Britain are dashed, as the shattered remnants of the Franco-Spanish fleet retreat. The loss at Trafalgar seals the fate of his plans, leaving Britain as the unrivaled maritime power. The echoes of cannon fire are replaced by the sounds of victory, as British sailors celebrate their hard-won triumph, knowing they have altered the course of history. As the storm rages, Nelson's body, preserved in a cask of brandy, begins its somber journey back to England. The cask, adorned with the Union Jack, is carefully transported aboard a British ship. It symbolizes not only the loss of a great leader, but also the enduring legacy he leaves behind, a legacy that will inspire generations to come. Across Britain, the news of Trafalgar spreads like wildfire. Church bells toll in cities and villages, their sound a mournful tribute to the fallen admiral. Crowds gather in public squares, their faces a mix of sorrow and pride. They honor Nelson, the man who defied the odds and secured their freedom, his name destined to be etched into the annals of history. In the weeks following the battle, the British government recognizes Nelson's extraordinary contributions. Plans are set in motion to erect monuments in his honor. Trafalgar Square and Nelson's Column will rise, immortalizing the admiral and his pivotal role in securing Britain's naval supremacy, a lasting testament to his courage and vision. Nelson's legacy transcends mere military achievement. It becomes a symbol of British resilience and innovation. His strategies and tactics are studied in naval academies, shaping the future of naval warfare. The principles he championed resonate through time, influencing generations of leaders and sailors who seek to emulate his daring spirit. As the years pass, the impact of Trafalgar continues to unfold. Britain's maritime dominance paves the way for an expansive empire, facilitating trade routes that span the globe. The legacy of Nelson and his fleet becomes intertwined with the fabric of British identity, a reminder of the sacrifices made for freedom and power upon the seas. Trafalgar is remembered not just as a battle, but as a defining moment in world history. The clash of ships and the bravery of men led to a seismic shift in power dynamics. Nelson's heroism, marked by his final victory, becomes a narrative woven into the very essence of British pride and resilience. In the years to come, Nelson's name becomes synonymous with naval excellence. His story is told and retold, inspiring countless works of art, literature, and folklore. The image of the bold admiral, with his determined gaze and iconic uniform, remains a powerful symbol of courage and leadership, forever etched in the hearts of the British people. As the documentary draws to a close, the legacy of Trafalgar and Admiral Nelson shines brightly. The battle reshaped the world, ensuring British naval supremacy and altering the course of history. It serves as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of freedom, heroism, and the relentless pursuit of greatness upon the waves.